going to look at today before we do our worksheet is a review on demand. And so we know the law of demand. As the price goes up, what happens to the quantity you demand? It goes down. As the price goes down, what happens to the quantity you demand? It goes up because they're an inverse, right? You do not want to pay more for whatever you're trying to buy, right? Because none of us have rich sugar daddies that we could just put out all. You do? Okay. I don't know what that buzzing is. What was that buzzing? I don't know. It's been going on for like the last period, and I thought it was just me thinking of stuff. So what we're going to be looking at is the change of quantity demand is the willingness of people to buy different amounts of goods or service at the same price, okay? But what's going to happen is when something other than price changes, that original curve is no longer valid, and we're going to have to shift it. So our entire demand curve will either shift to the left for less or to the right for more, right? And so do y'all see that when we are going to start graphing, there are several things that we're going to have to put on our axis. That's price, that's quantity, and we'll have to label our curves, and we'll have to have arrows with it too. And so there's 5 reasons why there's a change in demand. First off, consumer taste change. So fidget spinners, are they popular anymore? No. So what has happened to the demand for fidget spinners? Let's put up the phone. Okay. So what has happened to the demand for fidget spinners? It's gone to the left. Oh, do y'all know this thing's poppets? Yeah, so what's happened to the demand for that? It's up, right? So it goes to the right. Okay, so if there's a news report saying that avocados will cure cancer, what's going to happen to the demand for avocados? I don't know. It's a good fruit. It's a good fat, I guess. So it'd go to the right, right? Anything that's unpopular will shift to the left. So consumer income. When the government gave more money during the COVID time with the stimulus, what did that do to people's demand? Shifted it to the right, right? Hey, if the government were to say that we're going to increase taxes all across the board, what would happen to consumer income? It'd go down and it would shift to the left. Next thing is an increase in the consumer market. So with NAFTA, that's what we talked about last time. What happened to the market for American goods? Because now it's Mexico and Canada. It went up, right? If Texas were to secede from the Union, it would lead to less. It would move to the left. Consumer expectations. And a lot of this deals with like concert tickets I explained last time. When do you buy concert tickets? Do you buy it the day before or the day the tickets sell? Why do you buy the day the tickets sell? It's cheaper because that's at cost value. What happens to so more people will buy the day that they come out versus the day before a concert, because what happens to those tickets? They go up, right? So, and I think they do that here with the student tickets, that if you buy the student tickets here, they're cheaper and they're more expensive at the game. So do a lot of people like to buy the tickets here? I don't know where they sell them. I have no clue. I don't buy student tickets. But I think there's a lot of people who go wherever they go to buy tickets during lunch, because when they go to the game, it's more expensive. Do they honor y'all's athletic passes anymore? Yes, they do. Okay.
They didn't last year. I was mad.
Oh, because of the limited seating. Okay, so the price of related goods. There's 2 types of related goods with substitutes, and I think we went around last time and asked what you could substitute for, right? So like Diet Coke for Diet Pepsi, right? That would be a substitute, okay? It's one good for another. So if the price of Coke goes up, what happens to my demand for Diet Pepsi? It goes up too, okay? Those are correlated substitutes, okay? So the price of butter, what happens to your demand for margarine? It goes up, okay? So like sugar and molasses, those are substitutes. Complements, generally one good that goes with another. So if the price of peanut butter goes up, what happens to my demand for jelly? If price of peanut butter goes up, am I going to demand peanut butter? So my demand for jelly will go down, okay? And so again, it shifts to the left. So the way to remember this is timer. And there's a reason why we don't call it timer because of taste, because T will be something else later. And I know I have Y there, but income, when I get to GDP, I will be investment. So they call it Y when it's income. And every time we talk about income, it will always be Y in economics. Number of consumers' expectation of related goods. So what we're gonna look at now is you have a worksheet. And I'm gonna help you through this worksheet if I can get my camera to work. Okay, does everybody have this worksheet now? Okay, so did we do this worksheet last time? No, so let's look at this. I'm gonna help you through the front side and I'm gonna let you do the back side on your own. We're gonna read the situations besides each demand curve. And then we're gonna determine how the item of interest should be graphed. We're gonna look at it as a change in demand, and a change in demand means something other than price has changed. Or we're gonna look to see if it's a change in quantity demand. That's a change in price. And so we're gonna give the reason for the change, and then we're gonna graph it. So if it's a change in price, this is how it should look. So if the price was high, what happens to my demand? Is my demand high? No, it's very low, right? And then if the price lowers, what happens to my demand? It increases, right? So this will show an increase in demand. Price was high at point A, and at point B, the price went down, so that's an increase in quantity demanded. So now I want to show you how I've graphed a decrease. Price was once low. What happens to our demand when price is low? It's high. When they increase the price, our demand thus decreases. And then our demand decreases. And a lot of people don't like the way these arrows go. And I'm gonna let you draw this, and I want you to talk to me about why we don't like the way those arrows go. It's opposite of how we see it, right? Because going down, does that look like an increase? But when I look at the numbers here, is that a real increase? Yes, but when we look at it in our mind, we're like, an arrow shouldn't go down to mean increase, right? And then looking here, right, that is a decrease, right? But the arrow goes what? Up. And a lot of people get confused with that. But does it make sense?
No.
Yes, thank you for your affirmation. Right, so now let's look over here. If there's a change in demand, so this is just a change in quantity demand on this side. If the demand changes and there's less demand, which way does my curve go? To the left. And this is something other than price. This is a decrease in demand. And then an increase in demand would go which way? To the right. I hear you speaking it through your mind, just not saying it out loud. Eventually, these curves, we're going to talk about supply, and then we're going to look at, these curves will follow us throughout this course, okay? So that's why I want to spend time to make sure we really know what's going on. So what we're going to look at is the first one. And I'm going to do this front side with you, and then I want you to try the back side. So this front side says, chewing gum companies raise the price from 30 cents a pack to 80 cents a pack. What will happen to the demand for chewing gum? And that's what we're graphing. So is there a change in demand, or is there a change in quantity demand? There there is a change in quantity to demand, and the reason is there was a change in what? Price. So when I come over here and graph it, I need to label this axis what? P, and I need to label this axis. And I'm given 2 data points. What was my first data point? 30 cents. So I need to come and graph that here. At 30 cents, we know that's the lower price. So what should be up with that quantity that's being purchased? It's a very high quantity. And then when they raise it to 80 cents, what should happen to the quantity? It decreases, so I'm going to show a little decrease in that. And now I'm going to make my curve, my demand curve. Here's my original data point, my second data point. So what happened to demand? Did demand increase or decrease with that change in price? And so that's with an arrow that goes up the curve. Okay, we're gonna do the second one and the third one together, but is everybody on my bandwagon? Okay, so Texon creates a new fuel made from garbage that can be used like gasoline. It costs 1/3 less than gasoline. What will happen to the demand for gasoline? Okay, well, what is this? Is this change in demand or change in quantity of demand? Okay. Am I graphing for garbage gasoline where there's a price change, or am I graphing for gasoline? So is that a change in, what is garbage gasoline to gasoline?
That's substitute.
That's a substitute. So now looking at that, is it a change in demand or is it a change in quantity demand?
Demand.
This is a change in demand because the reason is, what is garbage gasoline to gasoline? A substitute. How many of y'all would buy garbage gasoline if it was 1/3 less? No, some of y'all just, you're rich out all the way, you'll go purebred gasoline. You don't care for the lackluster garbage gasoline. But most of us would be like, yes, we're gonna get on that. And this is exactly what happens. Do y'all remember, there's a gasoline at the gas station that has corn in it? Have y'all seen that one? 85, right? Do a lot of people purchase that today? It's skeptical, but people purchase it, right? Because it's cheaper. Okay, so let's look. What should I do with this axis? Label it what?
Price.
Price. What should I label this axis? Quantity. I want us to talk about where my curve will shift. Because what are people going to be demanding according to the law of demand? The garbage gasoline. Okay. And so what's going to happen to the demand for gasoline? It goes to the left. So I'm going to do an arrow. And I'm going to label this one D2 and that one D1. Okay, are y'all okay with this one? Okay, let's look at the next one. It says it becomes more fashionable for men to wear their hair long. What will happen to the demand for haircuts? Is this a change? Okay, y'all are, let's look at this. Is it change in demand or change in quantity demand?
I said quantity.
Okay, did I see anything in a change in price yet? No, I see a change in demand. Look at the reasons up here. What's the reasons? It becomes fashionable for men to wear their hair long.
Consumer taste.
Consumer taste. So this is a change in demand because there's a change in consumer taste. So now this is P, this is Q. If men desire to wear their hair long, what happens to the demand for haircuts? Go left or right? Which way does it go? Left. did men get to go cut their hair? No, it was from spring break all the way to June. And what had happened to a lot of men's hair, females' hair? It grew long, right? And that demand decreased because it was forced by the government. I don't know of a time in history except the 70s where people started to wear their hair long, okay? That forced a change, okay? How do y'all feel about this? So what I want you to do now is I want you to go to the back side. There is like, I think 5 of them you have to do on your own, but I want to see if you have the concept. I want you to go through it. I want you to try it. And then we'll come back and review.